Hello everyone, it's Kay here, and I'm here today to share some more of my hash DW P100 challenge projects. That's Dancing with Pitbulls on YouTube, who's organised this challenge to make 100 items using your stash and nothing more. The only thing you're allowed to buy is adhesive, so I'm sticking true to that, which at the moment isn't too difficult, I have to say, because it's fresh and it's ongoing. But I think I'll probably be about 80 by the time I finish this, because I'm not prepared to stint on how I do things, so it takes me rather a long time to complete a project and get it the way I want to present it. Without further ado, I will now share with you 4, 5 and 6, and I'd be glad of some feedback from you as always, and some suggestions if there's anything you'd like to see me do. So the first thing I've put together, and I was hugely inspired to do this by Carmen van Lockven, who is a lovely lady also here on YouTube, and it's a tag kind of album. I think they're called a tag album, and it amounts to putting together tags that you've made and then decorating them. And I have to say, this is the first one I've ever done, and it's been absolutely delightful in the making. I used a pad from Studio Light, which I was fortunate enough to get my hot mitts on about, gosh, 12-18 months ago now. Always planning to do something with it, but never quite getting there. You know how it is. And I'd had, by way of Carmen entering a challenge that I held back along, a tag album that Carmen had very kindly sent to me. And I did say to Carmen as I opened up the parcel that it would be something that I would get around to. Well, I've done it, and here it is. I've used Creole dies, and what I've done is cut them out, but cut them shorter, because they're quite significant dies. They're quite large. I don't have them with me at the moment to show you, which is a oversight, because it would help to let you see the difference. But this is one of the tags, top to bottom, if you can see in this light. If I put my hand under here, and what I've actually done is probably taken off an inch and a half from the bottom, so they really are quite significant in their sizing, and I didn't really want to have them that large, so you get 4. I've just manipulated them and got them to the sizes that I felt I would be able to deal with quite happily, and this is how it turned out. So if I start on the back tag here, there is a little pocket here. I've put a couple of little tags inside, just decorative tags. It was a Marianne Designs tag that I purchased long ago. I've used one of my little oh gosh, one of these little what's it doobies, or what do you call them? It's gone. But anyway, it's one of them on top of a backing. I did a load of embellishments a while back, and I've not actually used them for anything, so I thought, right, I shall start using them in this capacity and get them gone. There's a tiny little dream catcher here with a little rose on it. On the back, as you saw earlier, I've got some tiny little banner tags. If I can just get that last one out. Whoops-a-daisy. And they're all from the Spotlight paper pad, as are all the sayings. It was originally a card pack, but I kind of knew when I bought it that I wouldn't be making cards with it. That's just some of the detail, a little peg on the banner there. I've then used Stampin' Up! Flower stamp punch here with several layers, some lace just to frilly it up a bit, a little tiny doily at the back there, and all it says is have a beautiful day, which is rather lovely. The colour runs throughout, it's pinks and blacks and whatever else I've thrown into the mix. This is the second largest die tag, and again just decorated it with paper. These little rolled ribbon roses. The saying here is a day without laughter is a day wasted, and I'm all for believing that. The sentiment believe there. Another little applique flower with a tiny little die there. And then on the back, enjoy the little things with this lovely little banner. A nice little rosette, that's the word I was looking for, rosette there. And then a little banner there that just says laugh. So there are no pockets or anything on this one, but it is a tribute to the papers that they need very little in the way of embellishments, I think. Then the next size down is this one with the Believe again, the Dream Catcher, another of the Stampin' Up layered flowers, and that is a 3-flower punch. And you just create to give it dimension. Clearly it will flatten, but it's very, very easy to then manipulate the petals again, as you can see, and just give it a bit more dimension. I've used some flat back bling on the end there. And on the other side is the inevitable bingo tag with laugh, a little banner here. This is a little pocket. I've not actually put anything in it, but that's not to say you couldn't put anything in it. It's probably about 1.5 inches deep, and then some other little flower bits and pieces just to decorate. Pull that one back that way, and then we go on to the next size down. And you'll see it's quite repetitive in its way, but the papers do afford a little bit of difference on each of the pages. The tiny little flower there, it's a Wild Orchid Craft, some lace bits from my stash, and then on the other side, have a beautiful day, another teensy weensy little pocket, probably about 1 inch deep, but it does allow things to be stored in there. And this little saying up here underneath the washing line just says made with love. So that's that one, and we go on to a little bit of extra something or other, and I made this corrugated heart. Used some more of the little tiny pieces of ephemera. That's a die that I've had for a while now, and it just decorates up so beautifully because of the corrugated paper. It just gives it dimension, and it's very nice to touch and fiddle with. Basically, I've kept it flat on clear on the back because clearly it's nestling in amongst the other tags. And then this is the next size again with Dream, another of the flowers. Oops, oh, I've just ripped off the end. That was clever. Okay, never mind, I can fix that back on again or change it entirely. And then on the back it says Enjoy and Dream, and I've used some paper roses there just to decorate out that bit, because of course with it being on the ring you don't have to worry about how dimensional it is. You've just got free reign. Another Believe here with some more of that double-sided or dual aspected decoration. And then this is the front of the tag, and it just says love, and I've layered up some more lace, some applique, and just tried to make it look really pretty. As a finisher I've used some iridescent bead here and some ribbon, and altogether was very, very pleased with how my first tag came out. As I say, in part due to the lovely papers. I think if you have papers that have got lots of ephemera running through them, then it's very easy to do this kind of project and get a great deal out of it. So that we'll say is entry number 4. And entry number 5 was inspired by Lyric Clover, who is another lady on YouTube who has done a video showing how to make an album using 4 pieces of 12 by 12 paper. Well, I didn't want anything quite that large. I wanted something smaller, so by altering their dimensions somewhat and using 8 by 8 papers, this is what I've put together. And I've just used some lace from my stash, purchased from Amanda Charlesworth some time ago. This pad that I bought from the works, I think probably 2 years ago, mean to get round to it always. Another of the rosettes that just says celebrate there. I made a bit of a faux pas, got my crocodile caught and ripped the paper on the front, so not to be daunted, I just put these little almost triangles, they're not quite, over the offending area, and went back and put the eyelets in just to make a formal closure for the little book. And inside it is really, really very, very pretty indeed. I'm very pleased with how it came out. Now, I can't remember where I got this paper stack from. I really don't recall. But this is, I think it was the works, but I'm not entirely sure. I then found some little bits and pieces. It is the works. Little bits and pieces here, little chipboard pieces. I then made a book, and this is Artie Mays on Etsy, and it's her beautiful, beautiful butterfly collection. It's a downloadable digikit basically, but it is absolutely gorgeous. So I found a piece that would actually lend itself to being made into a booklet, stitched down the centre with just some ordinary copier paper, and then went on to just do a little bit of doily stamping all the way through. It doesn't preclude being written on, it just gives it a little bit of interest. That's the back for more journaling if you so desired, and that slips into this pocket. This pocket here is empty, as you can see, but you know, you can put in it whatever you like. Oh dear, that's stuck. This is hot off the press, this one. I've just finished it. I'm going to have to find some. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to find something to cover that up with. Oh, nonsense and nuisance. Anyway, it's filled with quite sizable tags that you could do some journaling on the back of, or add a photograph to. There's another one here, very, very pretty, plain on the back. That would be a photograph mat, I would say. And then another tag here. I've punched holes, but I've not actually put any embellishments into them, or any twine or anything like that, but they fit in there quite nicely. Oh, I'm vexed at that, but never mind, I will sort it. And more of the little wood chip embellishments there, the bird and my bliss. I think that was can't remember, it was from a craft shop many moons ago anyway, and all of them came from the same pack. And then here are a couple more photo mats, just very, very simple. I'm letting the papers speak for themselves really, because they truly are gorgeous. It's just such lovely, lovely papers. Artie Mays. If you haven't met her, she's got a store on Etsy, and her digikits are not only very, very reasonable, they're beautiful as well. And then for the final aspect of the little booklet, and it does feel quite chunky and quite substantial, because you do have 2 pages glued together, which reinforces and makes it extremely strong. one final tag here, and then the last of the little wood chip embellishments on the back page there. Then it all just closes up together once I go back in after and sort out my little faux pas. I can just about feel in a plique or something landing on the offending spot. It just closes together with some ordinary thin ribbon. So that's project number 5. Excuse the glue strands. And then these two together, 2 more of the bracelets. They are different, and I'm hoping that they will be recognised as extra. I want this to be number 6 in my challenge, and you'll see it's more of the same bracelet, but I have altered things around, not only the colour but also, if you look into the edge of this one, it is one oval faceted bead rather than separate beads, which does alter the shape of the bangle somewhat, but they do take about 3.5 hours to make, so I feel I'm quite justified in adding them into the mix, so to speak. So I'll leave that one there, and this is the one I finished last evening, and whilst it looks to be a kind of lilac colour with the black and the lilac crystals at the top, it actually is quite a chameleon in different lights, which I quite appreciate, because it does mean that you get to see a different coloration here and there at different times of the day, but there's just that subtle bit of bling there to keep the ladies interested. These will, as I said in my last video, appear on my jewellery page on Facebook when I get them uploaded and put onto the page, and they will be for sale, so I hope you will check that out at some point. But they do look quite lovely together. It's a pretty standard size. This would fit a 7 to 7.5 inch wrist. 7.5 might be pushing it a little bit, but it would fit on with a bit of encouragement. If someone with a smaller wrist would like to try one, then they are going to be just one block, one of these little blocks here, shorter, and that will bring it down to 6.5, around there. That's the size my friend's wrist is, and bringing it down to 8 segments instead of 9 certainly makes a difference. So with that, I will say thank you once again for joining me, to those who have, and happy crafting, everyone. Talk to you all again soon. Take care for now, and happy bank holiday tomorrow. Bye bye.